All right, guys, so let's start on our blogging theme, which is going to be our admin-based type panel. So we're going to go ahead and create a new folder here called Bloggin, B-L-O-G-E-N. And if you want to rename these themes to something else, that's absolutely fine. And then I'm going to take what we have in the BS4 boiler and just copy all that. And we'll bring that over to our blogging folder. And then let's go ahead and open up, blogging in VS Code. And we'll go to the index.html and let's start up the live server. Just gonna bring this over. All right, so I can close that up. So we're going to work on the navbar first, which is the usual, because that's going to go at the very top. So let's go ahead and replace this start here, and we're going to have a nav tag with the class of navbar, and we're also going to do navbar dash expand, and we want it to be responsive on small screens. Okay, we want this to have a navbar dark class, because we're going to use the BG dark class on the navbar. So let's do that. And let's also do, we're actually going to make this navbar very thin. So we want to take all the padding away. So we're going to go do P0, which will do padding 0 on all sides. So let's go ahead and do that. And we want a container in here. And then we'll put our branding. So we'll say a class navbar brand. And we'll just have it go to index.html because this is a multi-page theme. And for the branding, we're just going to say blogging. Underneath that, we want our responsive button. So let's do button, and let's give this a class of navbar toggler. And we want to give this some other attributes. We want to do data toggle, and we want to set that to collapse. Okay, we also need a target, of course, so we're going to do data target, and we want to set that to, let's say, hash navbar collapse. Okay, and that should be it. So inside the button, we want the icon, which we can get with a span with the class of navbar dash toggler dash icon. And that should give us our button. So right underneath the button, let's put a div with the class of collapse and navbar collapse. And let's give it an ID of navbar collapse like that. Okay, and then in here, of course, we have our UL with the class of navbar nav. And then each list item, which will have a class of nav dash item. Now with this navbar, I want the links to be kind of further away from each other, so we're going to do an x-axis padding. So we'll do px-2, so that'll be padding on the left and right. And then inside here we want our link, which will be nav link. This is also going to be the active for this page. This is going to be for the index, so it'll go to index.html. And for the text, we'll just say home. Actually, not home, let's say dashboard. And then what we'll do is copy this li. So we have 1, let's do 2, 3, 4. And then we just want to take the active off of these next 3. And the second one here is going to be to the post page, so post HTML, we'll say posts. This one here is going to be to categories.html. And then this one here will be to users.html. So that's going to be the left side of the navbar. Now we also want some links on the right. We basically want it to have a welcome message with the name. We want a profile drop down, or we want to drop down with the profile and the settings. Okay, and then we also want a logout link, because this is more of an application interface than like a website. So we're going to go right under the UL that we just did, and we're going to put another UL with the class of navbar nav. And we also want to give it a class of ml dash auto because that's going to push it over to the right. Okay, it's going to do margin left auto, which will push it to the right. And then let's add an li with the class of nav item. And then this is also going to be a drop down, so we want to give it a class of drop down. And then I would just want to add a little margin to the right, so I'm going to do mr3. Now in here we want a link with the class of navlink, but this is also a drop down toggle, so we need that class drop down toggle. And let's see, the href doesn't matter. We also need an additional attribute of data toggle, which we'll set to drop down. And let's see, inside the a tag here, I want to have a user icon, so I'm going to say I with the class of FAS and FA-user. And then next to that icon, we're just going to say welcome Brad, or you can put whatever name you want. All right, so that'll be the drop down. Now underneath the a tag, we're going to put a div with the class of drop down dash menu. Okay, so this will be the drop down menu. We'll put the first link. This will have a class of drop down dash item. And we've done all this before. This is going to go to profile.html, and then the text in the link is just going to say profile. But I also want to put an icon in here. So what I'm going to do is put an I tag. Let's see, we'll do I, FAS, and let's do FA-user-circle. Okay, so that'll be our profile. Now what I'll do is copy this a tag. Actually, we'll put this down here like that, and let's grab this and go directly under it. And then this is going to go to settings.html, and we'll change this to settings. And for the icon, let's use the cog icon. So we just want to do FACOG. And then let's see, we want to go outside of this li, so outside of the drop down, and we're going to have another link or li, which will be the logout. Okay, so this will just have a class of nav item. And inside here, we're going to put a link with the class of nav link. And this is going to go to login.html. And this is going to be the logout link. So let's say, because when we're going to kind of make it look like it's functional. Obviously, we have no back-end programming or anything. There's no actual login. But if they click log out, I just want it to redirect to the login page just to give it that effect. Just like when we submit the login page, we'll just have it, we'll have the action go to the index page. So it'll actually look like it's a working application. But obviously, we don't have any back-end. That's not what this course is about. So let's put an icon here. And I'm going to use FA-user-times. And then let's do logout. Okay, so that should be it for the navbar. Let's save that and let's take a look. So that's what it will look like. So you can see it's much thinner than usual. And we have our basic links here, and then we have our drop down with profile and settings. We have our logout with the icon. So that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and put the header in, which is going to be pretty simple. So let's use an HTML5 header tag. We'll give it an ID of main header. And let's do a class of PY, so padding on the top and bottom. 2, we want BG primary for the background. And let's do text white for the text. And then in here, we'll just have our container. We'll have our row. And we're going to have a 6-column div on medium screens and up. So let's do call MD6. And in here, I'm just going to put an H1. And we'll say dashboard. But I'm also going to put an icon here. Lots of icons in this theme. So let's do I with a class of FAS. And we're going to use that cog, that FA-cog icon. So let's see what that looks like. And there we go. Okay, so pretty simple, no custom CSS, everything is done in Bootstrap. So in the next video, what I want to do is have a couple different buttons here. So we want one, for instance, to add post, add category, add user, and these buttons are actually going to open up modals with forms inside. All right, so we'll get to that next.